So then, you thought it was over, didn't you? You thought, oh, I'll never see anything to do with the Parma save ever again. Well, you were wrong, because here I am. I've had many requests to look through some of the things, sort of the behind the scenes almost of Parma drama, to go through the things that we don't talk about so much, where players are now, what happened in maybe some other divisions, what happened to that right back. So what I thought we'd do is go through all of those things now, just in one video, just to show you sort of year on year how things happened, what my best team was per year. Just to, you know what, we're going down a trip down memory lane, folks, and I think memory lane is going to be a lovely journey for us all to embark on. And this really will be the final Parma video. I've said that about 4 times, but this actually will be the final one. But it's nice to have a little look back to remember the good times. So let's take a look through. What we'll do is we'll look through the best 11s and then we'll go from there. So I'm going to start the video by lying. Okay, so let's look at what we won first. So you can see a few of the sort of obvious things there. European Champions Cup winners. If you're now like currently watching Parma Drama and you've watched this and thought, oh, what's this new Parma Drama video? Yeah, spoilers. In Serie A, we won it 3 times. We were runners-up 3 times as well. Bloody 3 times, that's annoying. In terms of the Italian Cup, if we scroll down a little bit, the Italian Cup, we won that once, only 1 time, which is crazy really. Runners up twice, the Super Cup winners twice as well. So yeah, overall, we did quite a few good things. If you take a quick look at the Hall of Fame, I'd like to see where I am actually on that. So, in terms of the Hall of Fame, you can see I'm there. Look, I'm also there, but that's with Swindon. So that's my Swindon Knot achievements there, where we did all right, actually. We were very successful in the sort of the latter years of the Swindon Knot. But there we are then, the Parma sort of history books. Obviously, we won a European Championship with France as well. 1 Champions League then, 1 Italian Cup, 3 Serie A titles and 2 Super Cups, which means I don't actually get ranked, which is a shame. But I guess in terms of English managers, we might do. So let's have a look. Actually, within Italy, we're 6th. So that's not too bad. 6th in Italy, ahead of Sven-Goran Eriksson and Jose Mourinho, but not ahead of like Capello, Mancini, Lippi, Allegri and Trapattoni, which is a shame. In terms of England, though, nations, that's what I want to see. So actually, although Parma was a bit more exciting and a bit more of a journey, and I did play Swindon for another season, another couple of seasons, which will be a factor, I'm only 4th. So I'm on there twice now. Swindon 2nd and 4th there with the Parma team and France of course as well. So there we are. They're not too bad at all. Let's get on to the players though. I think we want to have a little look back at some of the names. What happened to them? Where did they go? So we'll go to the overall towards the end, but you might remember then season 1, a few familiar faces. Moratti's in there, El Mahamadou, do you remember him? God, these were the days, folks. Santa Coca, who was okay for us. Noscerino still played for us. Lodi, he was great for us actually that first year. You can see there he got quite a few goals for us too, 9 goals. A few mainstays in that team. Freddie Montero, that never quite worked out. Bill Fodil, oh man, I'm going back now. I went to Newcastle. We sold him. Well, I sold him, I should say, and thought, oh, you'll be rubbish. He then got 2 quite big moves, and then did very well for Newcastle in the Premier League. Scored against us in the Europa League, as I do recall. So a few interesting names there. I think Prodiga was one of my first ever signings I made. 34, retired. Played a fair amount for us. Right, the next year, moving on a little bit. The team this season stayed pretty familiar, though. We made a couple of changes. We brought in, I think we brought in Milanovic at this time, as well as a few others that stayed with us for a little while. Biabiani was in the team. Munir, that was the first time we brought Munir in. You can see there, Bursa on that left side. Agra. This does take me back, I have to say. De Guzman was there in the middle. Monatti's still in goal. And Seri was playing his first games for us this year. We also brought in the Argentine Danny Graham, who you might wonder, where is he now? He's actually ahead of youth development. I might have to bring him in to Parma. He retired with us. I didn't know that. I can remember. But yeah, maybe I'm going to have to hire him as some sort of, I don't know, some role within the club, surely, right? Yeah, right. Albertazzi as well. I guess we'll see him in a few other squads coming up, but he was a mainstay too. Right, on to the next year and a change of formation. Some players who stayed with us for a very long time in this team. So Albertazzi and Milanovic had nailed down those spots at this point. Conti, a player I'd brought in, was at right back. Moratti was still in goal, being a bit shit. De Cegli was on the left side. Storaro in the middle. Lucas had come in for his first season. And you can see here a lot of 7-point-something ratings. Our first 11 this year really did fantastic things for us. Babacar was brought in. Danny Graham, of course, who's now Director of Football of Parma, has been for a little while as well, actually. So, yeah, interesting. I wonder where Boubacar ended up. He was a player that we had for a while. Swansea, 31 years of age. I almost brought him back, actually, in the window where I kind of brought a lot of the players back. He was one player that I was very close to making a return. But Storaro as well, a player that I loved, actually, at Parma. Was really, really good for me. Went to Milan. He's done okay at Milan. Didn't quite do as well as he ever did at Parma. But, you know, actually, last season was very good for him. Fair enough. Moving on to the next year, the 17-18 season. And this is when Munoz was brought in. This was the formation. The Parma formation was really... We hit it there. This was the moment we really used it to its full potential. Baldij came in. Munoz, Milanovic and Albertazzi created that back three. Storaro moved back a little bit. Freddie the Dream Guarin was brought in. The transfer window where Siggy came in. Gomez on the right. Salah on the left. Babacar through the middle. We also had Honda. That was weird. We had Kazuki Honda for a brief time. And Seri this year got 17 and 33, so I think he played quite often with Babacar. I think the second half of the season for Seri was really, really good. You can see here at 28 now, he's going down a little bit. He's depreciating, but we still love him, right? Yeah, guys? Yeah, sure we do. Actually, looking at the goal scorers there, Gomez, Siggy, Salah and Babacar had fantastic years for me. That was really good, actually. I remember that front four was really clicking, and then when Babacar sort of... I think he got injured, didn't he? I don't know. I'm kind of going through my own brain now. And then Seri stepped up and was our main man. So, moving on to the next year, and this was the first year we had Cristiano Neri, who was brought in. Still really solid. I mean, there was a lot of talk about Neri in the first few years when we brought him in. Would he cut the mustard? Would he be the man we needed? But he turned out to be quite a good addition, really. We won the Champions League with him, so I mean, he did all right. Milanovic, Munoz, obviously, as I said, was brought in. Back at Parma now because of my ridiculous transfer policy. Albertazzi, Lucas Domingo was brought in at this point. That's when he really put himself amongst sort of like a key group within our team. Spit out the word within. So he did very well also. Next to Lucas, Adam Lallana, the banana, was also brought in. Alejandro Gomez started playing behind the striker at this point, and Thierry Ambrose was brought in too. He was used sort of in rotation with Seri. I didn't want to play Seri too much in those early years, and he was a key reason. I've just lost where I was there. He was a key reason to why we did well that year. Again, the goal scorers in that sort of front four, front three were very good. Gonzalo Martinez must have been brought in as well. He was a fantastic player for us. Where did Gonzalo Martinez end up? Oh, Lazio, of course. I sold him and then forgot to tell you that I'd sold him. Sorry about that. Jack Wilshere. People forget Jack Wilshere was part of Parma drama. He was in for I think it was a 6-month period on loan, maybe 10 appearances, 2 goals, 2 assists. He had his best year. Actually, I don't know if it was his best year. His second best year on his career within this. Arsenal, by the way, in the Championship. I'm going to look at that towards the end. I do want to tell you share the Premier League because it's quite funny. But yeah, there you are then. Jack Wilshere was part of it. Munir was still there. Norman had come into the side as well. We were creating quite a force at this point. The next year, Nathan was brought in. Seri was definitely our first choice. Jason Derulo was brought. Ishmael was in on loan. Ishmael went on to have a fantastic career, by the way. Went to Manchester United. I say fantastic career. I remember he scored against me in quite a few of the Champions League things. So that season he had quite a good year. Continentally, got quite a few goals. So he did okay despite not scoring in the league. And the past year he did really, really well. 18 goals, 24 in total. So that's not a bad season for him by any stretch. Moving on, Teti was on the bench in these sort of seasons. Kondogbia was brought in. Dennis, do you remember Dennis? Blimey, we nearly signed him at PSG now. We loaned him from Manchester United and PSG bought him for 29 million. I was definitely involved in trying to get him in, but I couldn't afford the transfer fee at the time. Gabriel Palista was quite a reputable name amongst the squad at that time too, and Nathan that we brought in on loan did okay for us. I ended up at Tottenham, funnily enough. Had a little loan spell with me. 10 assists, 5 goals, he did alright. Moving on then, as we get ever closer to sort of the current season and looking at the overall, and this was the season that Jean Monnier set the world alight. It's actually picked the turtle formation. That's ridiculous. It shouldn't have done that, but it has done. Some key players were brought in this window. Santiago Rubio probably been the biggest of all of them. Now got 37 caps for Spain, 27 years old. Physically fantastic, technically very good, mentally strong as well. So really enjoyed using Rubio, one of the mainstays. Our formation would probably look quite different if it was a bit more accurate. But Baraka, you might remember, played 29 games that season, featured quite a lot for us. Benteke, again, Seri, 13 goals in 18. He was sort of... I wasn't playing him as much, but he was still always there, and obviously he's the only real mainstay throughout every single year. Robert was brought in this season as well, 13 goals, now at PSG, as we sold him to kind of keep the club afloat almost. That first year though, I don't know if that was his first year, but 17 assists and 11 goals. He was absolutely scintillating for me. And obviously Jean Monnier, who we'll come on to later on. Rodrigo de Paul, interesting. I must have loaned him, right? Yeah, loan deal. He did okay for me. He's got in the team somehow. I don't know how he's done that. Oh no, he's on the bench, but no, he's not. He's actually starting central midfield. It's a mess. It's a bloody mess. So the season after that was the season we brought Tecco in. Tecco now he's still at Juventus, I would assume. We sold him for a massive £50 million, which was great, really, because we needed the money at the time, and it meant that we could reinvest in a lot of players. Those players included Monier, Marcelo Ramirez later in the save, Axel Witsel, Borba, Oliveira. Really, this was a side that looked really good. I hate the fact it's now decided that this was the formation we used. We didn't even use it that often, really. Oscar, we had on loan, Avramidis, Beckman. Florian Beckman's still not with us, obviously, so let's have a little look. 21 years old, still very good, physically great, technically good, mentally quite solid too. He was great for us. I really liked using him as well. He was a player that was sort of... He wouldn't start every game, but if you needed someone to come in, obviously we played a 3 at the back. This formation's a bit of a lie, really. We played the Parma formation in the 3-2-1-3-1. So yeah, it's a shame that you don't get to see him in sort of these teams, because he was definitely in there, featuring a lot more. And Oliveira, that was a player we brought in. It's quite cheap, I think. 375,000 for Oliveira, now worth 36 million. Arguably one of the best signings we had, actually. And I guess we'll ask the question at the end: who was your favourite player throughout the entire series? I asked you about midway through the series, and people had their own sort of choices. As we move on, then Manfredini was making his way into the starting 11. Obviously, we missed out on a right back, who I will show you at some point. But Manfredini was it was a useful replacement. We'll say that much. And actually, it's fixed the formation. This was the first year you brought Charlize Theron in. As you can see there, coming along very nicely. Still a very well-rounded player. If I was continuing the save, he would be just incredible for the next few years, I would imagine. And we might as well look at Monier straight off the back of their European Championship win. Statistically, so good for me. And I guess overall, you'll see just how good Monier was. You might forget in passing, but I'll show you. And then in the latter stages, then Messi was there, Lucas Digne was there. They've kept this formation weirdly, considering we didn't really use it so much. Sergio Ramos is in this team now. It got a bit weird. Zidane, someone that, you know what, the stats on him, very, very good. I think I paid 8 million for him. Yeah, it was about 8 million. And he was, again, another really solid player for me. I'll tell you what, his graph there looks magical. Lovely little graph. Enjoy that quite a lot. And then I guess that brings us now to the overall. So there it is. That is the overall best 11. And I think it's quite fair. Do you know what? I don't think anyone's really not there that shouldn't be there. We'll go through a few of the records, though. Most appearances, Cristiano Neri, 261 games. So there you are, see? He was worth it all along. Milanovic, Rubio, Albertazzi, Lucas and Kondogbia, I think I quite like that. Storaro, questionably in there. I mean, he got us through quite a rough period. Marcelo Ramirez probably would have put us Alejandro Gomez on that right side. Gomez got 39 in 168, whereas Ramirez got 19 in 82, so it's pretty close. In terms of average ratings, it was quite close. Similarly, on the other side, you've got Norman, probably put Gonzalo Martinez in there on that left side. Robert in behind Monier, I cannot disagree with at all. Although, as I say, Sharon's got 72 in 97, but Monier got 160 goals. I'll say that again. 160 goals in 155 games. He was absolutely phenomenal. So yeah, that's the best 11. This video has probably gone on for a lot longer than I anticipated it to, but I guess there's quite a few bits to get through. So Serie A ended up with us getting 3 of those titles. Lovely old job. Let's take a quick look at the Premier League. Obviously, I could go through all the divisions, but I do want to look very briefly at the Premier League because it's hilarious. So in terms of winners of the Premier League, it's not that strange. And as I showed you earlier, there's kind of one thing that happened that I never talked about in series or anything. But Arsenal went down to the Championship. I guess actually what I'll do is I'll show you the league season in which they went down because it's just funny. Okay, so it's the previous season. Villa at the bottom of the table, Palace, and then Arsenal were there too. It's just, I don't know, I don't think in 2023 it would have been, you would ever expect Arsenal to get relegated, and Leeds to finish 4th as well, which is like quite sort of retro, but Arsenal getting relegated is kind of strange. Everything else, I'll be honest, isn't that dissimilar to what it is now. I mean, there's no teams that have come out of absolutely nowhere. Like the Championship's still pretty regular, the same with League 1 and League 2. I've had a little look through before, and there's not too many things that you'd think, oh my god, that's weird. Like in League 2 there, I can't see any teams that have really dropped down. I guess Bolton being down there is a little bit of a surprise, but their recent form's not been great anyway. So, that almost brings us to the end. I feel like there was one man that nearly got away. Yuri Vorv. What happened to him? Where did he go? This is the question I get more than any other question. What happened to the right back? What happened to Yury? Where is he? What happened to him? you're going to be underwhelmed, and that's kind of why I never really showed you. He's still very good, like, but he's still, every time I've ever bid for him, I'm going to show you what happens when I bid for him. This will be hilarious if I get him. But they always want 83 million or 84 million every single time. It doesn't matter what I bid. They just go, yeah, disappointed with the offer, and you just keep going back, and they just keep rejecting it. So yeah, it's not an amazing statistical sort of vibe from him. I mean, he's been good for Dortmund. But yeah, he's not as good as you might have thought. But at the time, at 17, he was probably better at 17, and that's kind of the funny thing about it, that he's probably got worse, actually. So I hate to ruin the myth of Yuri Vorv, but yeah, he's probably got worse than you ever imagined. Anyway, that brings us to the end of the video. I guess we'll leave it with Yuri. And yeah, it's been a fantastic save. I'm glad you all enjoyed it. The amount of positive comments I've got about the save have just been fantastic. So we love with care. From me, Dr. Benji, and the Parma boys. We'll see you again soon. Goodbye. Also, of course, let me know in the comments section, who was your favourite player? Who was your favourite player throughout the Parma series? Maybe your favourite moment, but more favourite player. Who was the player that you sort of, maybe it was someone like Borba that went under the radar? Let me know in the comment section. There's a slim chance I'll stream this. If there's anything that you've like missed or wanted me to talk about, I'll probably cover it in a stream, so stay tuned, or I'll post it on Facebook or something like that, facebook.com/Dr. Benji. Also, if you're a new person, I know I've sort of said goodbye and now I'm carrying on. If you're a new person, hi, welcome. I'm going to do a little video sort of with my plans for FM16 and focusing on the fact that I've hit quite a cool milestone with subscribers. So yeah, again, I'll do it twice in one video, I guess. With love, with care, from me, Dr. Benji. Until next time, goodbye.